Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Previously, Ryunosuke started theorizing that there was not just one gun, but two. One which was bait that Ryunosuke picked up and framed himself, and the second actually hidden on a Giselle Brett's person in her handbag. But unfortunately, it seems that there's a complication. Giselle's handbag is actually see-through, and Inspector Hosonaga, who was disguised as the waiter, didn't bother checking to make sure the contents of that handbag because it was see-through and he could see the glass from the dinner table inside it, which Giselle carried with her to hide her presence there. On Hosanaga's orders, because, well, there was this whole thing about trying to keep Giselle's presence hidden and all that, because international incident and all that, but, well, it's a real pickle, and I'm not sure what's going to happen next. But I think we need to take a look at this handbag and make sure it is what it seems. It's weird and suspicious. Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside. Oh yeah, and that freaking brand. That's so weird. On the wrist? What is that? That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. Uh-oh. Order? Order! Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. The photograph of the handbag has been entered into the court record. I'm not worried about that handbag, I'm more worried about the hand tag. Eh? Yes, see what I did there? Yeah. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Indeed, and there is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around, I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Ooh, even Kazuma's looking a bit stressed. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there is no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma, what? Is there really Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there is no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems you will be able to report to the British government on time after all. That smug little... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all of the evidence placed before me, I hereby... Wait! Your Excellency! I appreciate the full-bodied slap there. Ryunosuke? I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
Objection!
This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling? Now that means that if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection!
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence. Au contraire.
You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes.
Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
What?
But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosanaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded. Boop!
Yes!
Look at this, here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist?
Oh, he would say piffle.
Clearly, that has nothing whatsoever to do with a magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered the burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either.
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Ouchi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn.
Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff.
She's freaking out. She wants out of here.
She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer.
He would say shan't.
I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway.
What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over.
So I was thinking I should keep digging and hope that I might uncover something useful. Dig up, stupid. Yes, you're right.
I am?
We can just link that burn to the case. If we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again.
Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed. I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it. I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what did I notice? It was the color draining from Miss Brett's face.
Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case.
This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial.
We want to look at the plate.
Let's see. Yeah. Present.
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print.
Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would really be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore.
What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. Oh, what is it in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Yes!
The beefsteak.
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate? Oh!
Your Excellency, are you all right?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnaval.
Oh.
This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape.
Ah!
Ryunosuke, you genius. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks.
Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of Le Carnaval, I can testify to that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter.
Yes!
This means that when the burn was received, he was already dead. There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream. Not on that day or any before it. That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day... That would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Yes, I suppose.
So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think... Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but... I'm starting to think that maybe... we've been led into a terrible trap. What if... What if... What if... There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. I think... Dr. Wilson died before being shot? Was he poisoned? Oh my god! It came up again and again. Medical professor. And Giselle, doesn't she have something to do with that? She could have stolen drugs to make a poisoner. Oh God.
Maybe?
On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from one in particular situation.
Counsel, are you suggesting?
Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead.
Already
Dead?
She's the only one not surprised. Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness.
Order, please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot.
That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. And this is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Ouchie, it's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon?
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it.
Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But Your Excellency...
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I'm prepared to pass judgment.
Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help.
She's speaking Japanese.
Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Miss Brett, you speak Japanese?
Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all.
But then why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible.
Wow!
But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level.
Well... You are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us.
Oh, this poor, pathetic simp.
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. I'll say.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there is some other way the man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But, of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you.
Dude, come on.
Easy does it. I hope that is the last time I'll have to sully my lips with this coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen.
Huh? Thanks? What? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with the cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much.
I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear?
Man, we're not even past the tutorial case yet, and I can already tell this game has so many more animations than Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright, and that game has some pretty dang good animations. Loving it. Yes, Your Excellency.
Then you may proceed with the cross-examination.
Bring it on.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that.
Yes!
But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed.
Do you think so? Let me ask you something.
Sorry?
Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You cannot have noticed, can you?
Huh? What?
What fun. You hadn't realized. The dear lady is absolutely right.
Oh my god. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke.
Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing?
Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can.
Yes!
Well, I can't.
Anyway, when the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast.
Yes!
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right?
Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink, correct, waiter?
Exactly as you say, sir. Although, whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that.
Damn you. I have enough English to understand that, at least. For the benefit of others in the court, it means bless you.
I think it means the exact opposite.
Anyway, as far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma.
Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life.
But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burned his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point.
Objection!
And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that this is a complete waste of time.
I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right.
If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace.
If someone is shot or strangled or stabbed or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark.
If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Takatsuchi Ouchi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions.
A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. Need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence.
But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that?
In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it, isn't that so? Quite right. Le Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost.
Oh, hello. Hello.
It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand?
A killer blow. The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful.
Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense.
I very much doubt that.
Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right.
What do you think, Ryunosuke?
I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information.
Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over.
But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma.
What, Ryunosuke?
There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me.
Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no.
About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga.
The detective?
Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe.
Alright, I have an idea.
Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but
this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective.
Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again.
Nice.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the hands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at the crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so?
Quite right. Le Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident.
Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why?
Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity.
What do you mean?
When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down.
You're right. Look at him, he's lost in his own thoughts.
It's time to pursue the man in his train of thought.
Sorry? Pursue?
I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness's marker.
What marker?
At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with the D-pad, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people in the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across with the D-pad and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with A and see what's on his mind. Here we go. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Hold up.
Excuse me!
Yeah! Oh, what's the... He was really jumpy there. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts. Deeply. Looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there's something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately.
Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case.
Inspector Hosonaga,
Yes.
do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett?
Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Well, looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that? This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day, our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it. Oh my god. We were theorizing that Dr. Wilson was poisoned. What if the reason Hosanaga's coughing up blood is because he's been contaminated by the poison too? Like a lesser dose of it.
I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence.
Hey!
Miss Brett. Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? Hold on. I learned my lesson. Need to look at it closely immediately. Let's see. The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. I'm shocked it didn't pour out. So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle, though it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh, no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke, in more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? Gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question.
Very well, counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor.
Right, we want the second to last, I think. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. Okay.
Yes!
Careful what you ask for.
What is this? The bottle of water?
Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass?
Order, order, order.
And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Giselle Brett, it was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous, to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile. Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Well, if it was Giselle who actually did the killing, then no, there'd be nothing to jeopardize. An English woman killed an English man. What's the problem?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
Ahem, if I may. I will silence you forever for this disgrace.
Ooh.
It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady.
Where did that come from? She She just snapped. Is it time for an eye reveal yet? I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies.
I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring?
Oh, maybe not. I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not. Of course.
Uh-oh.
You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents.
And what did you find, Inspector?
I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. You could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. Well, test Wilson's glass. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No! No! I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned.
Thank you, Counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit.
I'm done for.
The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett.
Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point?
Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. I have something. I have an idea. I got an idea. So, Brett slips poison into Wilson's drink. Wilson takes a sip. Wilson dies, burning his hand on the thing, and he leans backwards afterwards. At this point, Brett either finishes drinking her glass or pours it back in the bottle, and then swaps the glasses. And she takes the poisoned... Okay, no. She must have disposed of the poisoned water in Wilson's glass. Then, after it was dumped out, she put it in her own purse, trying to claim it was her own glass. Hosonaga never inspected that glass in her purse. It must have traces of poison in it. That's the only way out of this I can think of. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Who? That's right, she was sent to go get someone, wasn't she? Please, wait. Isn't that...
What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikitoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikitoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. Wow! God, what a freaking long tutorial case! Hot damn! Well, in this case, I think I absolutely will save my progress. This is a fine place to end things. Make a 4th save, I think. Let's just progress a little bit so we have some music to talk over, huh?
Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Yeah. So, wow, At the end of the previous video, I thought for sure we had it in the bag. Literally. But it seems not. This is going on quite a bit. And if we just had a to be continued break, that must mean there's quite a lot left to go, too. Are we only like 2/3 of the way done here? Miss Susato here, she must have some crucial evidence, but it must not be enough to cinch this completely. Unless they have a really long epilogue following this court case here before the 2nd chapter kicks in and all that. Well, to be clear, about Susato, she screams weird little girl energy. It's a rule. Every Ace Attorney protagonist has to have a weird little girl who follows them around. Whether it be Maya, or Trucy, or Kay. It looks like Susato's probably next, huh? But she seems pretty alright. Not an idiot airhead like some of the others. Only time will tell if she beats out Trucy as my favorite, but I look forward to seeing her prove herself to me. So I do think I have a pretty good theory going with the swapped glass and smuggling the poisoned glass out of the restaurant in her bag, claiming it was her own. I think I'm on the money there. I would be genuinely surprised if I'm wrong there. But, honestly, I feel like nearly every other loose end has nearly wrapped up. Well, there was, what was his name? Kurateka, I think? Yeah, his curios. One went missing somewhere. There must be something to that. I'm not sure, though, what it could be. But boy, I really do like how they've like doubled and then tripled down on Hosonaga actually being a good person. He seemed very shady and distrustful when I first met him, but no, that guy has conviction and strong ideals, and he genuinely wants to pursue the truth and justice. So good on that man. You know, what with him being an inspector, I half wonder if he's a recurring character, like the next Gumshoe, maybe, but, well, I don't know. Here I am talking about a faithful follower, weird little girl, and, Kazuma potentially dying to parallel Miafe, and this new inspector being a stand-in Gumshoe, but if I say all those things, I make it sound like what I want is the same exact story with the same characters, but different? No. I like newness, I like freshness. If the game can buck the traditions of the classic Ace Attorney series, the original series, then I'd be quite happy. I want an original, fresh story. Not to say that this right here currently does not feel fresh, it does. This is an excellent, wonderful first case, and I'm very captivated by this Japanese-British connection going on, and I'm wondering how it'll be explored. So at the end of the day, all I can really say is I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm overjoyed to be playing more Ace Attorney. So good. So good. I love this franchise, man. I'm such a huge friggin' fan. Anywho, I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time when we probably finish this first case, maybe. Until then, please take care.